Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Cars Are, and welcome to a slightly different video as compared to what I normally do. Because instead of discussing the driving experience or the ownership experience of a supercar in today's video, what I'm going to be talking about is something that was sparked by a video that I made earlier this year. In the beginning of my living with the supercar in Pakistan video, I discussed the price of my Audi R8 at the time if I were to purchase it brand new. And that in turn had a lot of people asking a lot of questions about the prices of supercars in Pakistan and why they cost as much as they do. So that's what I'm here to hopefully clarify ever so slightly and help you guys understand why supercars cost as much as they do in Pakistan. So let's begin right off the bat by discussing the duty structure that is found here in Pakistan. So basically, as a rule of thumb, any new vehicle imported right now into Pakistan over 2 liters in displacement and a vehicle that isn't a utility vehicle, so not an SUV, not a pickup truck, and anything over 2 liters. That is what this video will be about. But particularly, I'm going to be discussing about supercars because really all supercars fall under that bracket. So as a rule of thumb, 400% is the amount of import duties that will be charged on a vehicle as of today in Pakistan. If you were to import a vehicle yourself, that is the percentage of duty that you would be paying for a brand new vehicle. Now let's get into that more in depth by discussing how much it would cost you or I to buy a brand new Audi R8 today, aside from the Audi dealership, if you were to import this car yourself. So the Audi R8 V10 has an MSRP of $170,000 in the United States. That is how much you would be able to buy one in the US or pretty much anywhere else in the world, really. Here in Pakistan, things are a little bit different. So what you do to calculate the value of a supercar or of any car basically is you take the MSRP, which is listed online, $170,000. You then multiply that by 400%, which would equate to $610,000. That number, $610,000, is the import duty. That's not how much the car costs landed in Pakistan. That's just the import taxes that you are going to have to pay. The car itself, well, you have to add $170,000 to the duty, would cost you $780,000. But that figure doesn't match what's listed on Audi's website. So you may be wondering why that is. Well, see, when you're importing a car through a dealership, it's actually quite different as compared to importing a car yourself. Now, like I said, the listed MSRP online is what the customs is going to take into account as the value for your car, and they're going to charge you a duty based off of the online MSRP. What Audi is able to do is, instead of giving the customs the MSRP of the vehicle, they are able to give the customs the price that they acquired the vehicle at. Because obviously they have some profit margins and everything, right? So instead of giving the customs, say, a value of $170,000, Audi is able to put forward a value of $100,000. Porsche does the same, as does Mercedes, as can BMW. Now, what that means is, instead of you having to pay duty on $170,000, you are now paying duty on $100,000. So what does the duty then in turn become? Well, you use the same 400% formula, it would be $400,000. The car price will remain the same, $170,000, maybe a bit less, a bit more based on options and whatever discount Audi wishes to give you. But as for all intents and purposes for this video, the car price remains $170,000. So the total price, instead of it being $780,000 if you were to import the car yourself, is now $570,000. Now let's move forward and talk about the used car market. Not the used car market domestically, but what it's like to import a used supercar into Pakistan. Because the customs does allow at maximum cars that are 3 years old to enter the country. So say you are looking to get an Audi R8 V10. Instead of buying a 2020, what you could do is get a 2017 model, which is 3 years old. What advantage does that have to you? Well, if you have a car every month old that it is when you are looking to import it, you will get 1% off the MSRP when it comes to paying the duty structure. So 36% for the full 3 years of depreciation is what you will get reduced from $170,000. So 36% of $170,000 is $61,200, and then you subtract that by the 170, which will give you $108,800. So instead of paying duty on $170,000 MSRP for a brand new vehicle, you're going to be paying $110,000. What will that equate to? Well, you use the same 400%, you get $440,000 as your duty. So your duty comes out to $440,000. Another advantage you have is that the car that you are hopefully looking to purchase abroad will have depreciated. So instead of a new Audi R8 V10 costing you $170,000, it will now cost you $100,000 abroad as well. So your total price comes out to around $540,000 to import the vehicle into Pakistan. There is one more thing to consider, which is importing a used vehicle aside from a dealership, but a vehicle that has already been imported by a dealership. So this gets a little murky, a little bit complicated. So if I want a 2017 Audi R8 V10 in Pakistan today, I can do that, import it myself aside from Audi. And what will happen is, since the customs already has a declared value by Audi in the past, they are going to charge you a duty based off of the value that was provided to them in 2017 when these cars were first imported by Audi. Now this is very crucial because I will also get, say Audi provided them $100,000 MSRP. That will be the MSRP that my duty structure is based off of. And on top of that, what I can do is avail the 36% discount by importing a 3-year-old Audi. So instead of the duty being charged on $100,000 or $110,000 or $170,000, I'm going to be paying the duty on $64,000 US dollars, which equates to around $256,000 US dollars of duty, plus $80,000 to $100,000 for the car itself. So this really is the cheapest way to get an Audi R8 V10 into Pakistan, or any car that has been imported by a dealership prior to you purchasing one yourself. Now let's talk about the domestic supercar market, the second-hand supercar market in Pakistan. Why is that so ludicrously expensive? Well, it's simple. I owned an Audi R8. I bought it before the prices went up to the extent that they are at today. So the car cost me a lot less than what a new R8 would cost you right now. But I still sold it based off of the value of what cars are worth today. Because I know that if you were to go out and you were to try to import an Audi R8 V10, it would end up costing you a lot more than what I even paid for the car back in 2017. So I'm going to keep that in mind, and based off of the market, the current price to bring in a car to Pakistan, that's what I'm going to set as the benchmark for my selling price. I mean, having to pay such a massive premium for buying a supercar in Pakistan, driving it around, it almost seems worthless, especially because right now I'm in Dubai and I could buy, a Ferrari F12 here for the equivalent of 1 crore 80 lakh rupees Pakistani if I get a good enough deal. That's ridiculous. And a lot of times people ask me why I don't just sell everything in Karachi and buy cars here. Well, I've been here for about 2 weeks now and I'm already missing home. That's not to say that Dubai isn't fun, and Dubai is one of the most fun places in the world to me. It's one of my favorite cities. But Pakistan is Pakistan. Pakistan's home. As much as I would love to own a supercar in Dubai, owning one in Pakistan is really more important. It just makes more sense because Pakistan's home at the end of the day. And as much time as I spend there, I don't spend anywhere else in the world. And a lot of owners think the same way. That is why you are starting to see an insurgence of supercars in Pakistan. Because people are understanding that, okay, it's more practical for me to buy a supercar outside of Pakistan, but I live in Pakistan, so I might as well, right? And I think the same way. Because yes, it's more practical to own a supercar outside of Pakistan, but Pakistan is home. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you understood or got a grasp of what I was trying to say, and sort of understand now why supercars are as expensive as they are in Pakistan. So that's it from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Cars are out.